Hello there, Patreons. So, in the background here, I turned it down, but this is one of the demos. This is going to be like the backbone still of Nanu Nanu We Miss You, the next version I do. So, I wanted to hop on here because I miss you guys. All right. I wanted to have a little bit of a soft, calm start up here. Hope you guys like the shirt. So, all right. I've been gone for 3 months, and I am so sorry about that. And by the way, I apologize. I'm still a little kind of sinusly congested from the boat. Going to Mexico on Shiprocked. Fantastic. I can't wait to talk about that. But this is... All right, so I'm going to do a couple of different videos here. Maybe it'll just... well, I'm definitely going to do a couple of different videos, but this one is going to be aimed at all of you. And then I'm going to break some up between the groups. So many of you are so fantastic to me that... I first and foremost, I want to say thank you all so very, very much for everything you do. This has been a fantastic journey. If you recall from some of the other videos, like, I didn't know that music was going to come back like this. It's still kind of like, on the verge here. But music, it's kind of coming back. And I'm so very thankful and grateful. If this was the 80s or the 90s, we would have went from a band that was playing bars and clubs to a band that was playing stadiums on this tour. And that's not to take anything away from anyone or anything, but music is a lot more for the fan. Like, playing and performing live is a lot more for the fans than it is lucrative nowadays. Obviously, there's still money to be made because people are getting paid, right? But it's just not like it used to be. It used to be like, when your song went number one, everyone became a millionaire, right? So first things first, that is not me playing on the album version of Dead Inside. That was the producer who worked on the song with Josh and Nita and David and Kat. Johnny and I are not on that song, unfortunately. Hopefully in the future, maybe I get stuff where I can lay down some tracks for her. Between me and you guys, that's my goal. My goal is to try and, get onto the recording with them. So there is a version. I do have a live version I could have opened up with. Maybe I'll put it up in a minute. Some of you might see it, some of you, I don't know. I don't know if I'm supposed to show it yet. But there's a live version from the Angola, Indiana show, which I know some of you were at, right before Christmas, the one where we wore all those Christmas hats from one of you. It's been a wild ride. We've experienced some really great stuff. Man, I never thought I'd be in a band that had a number one hit single, dude. That's... I'm so very thankful and grateful. I'll get into some of these stories. I'm going to try and bang out as many videos as I can while I'm home. This is the first one of hopefully at least a handful of decently sized, informative videos. first things first is I spent like 4 or 5 days like doing nothing, guys. I did. All right. Like, yeah, the boss is still out there working. She's killing it, flying back and forth like crazy. I I'm tired. I move a lot of heavy cases. Um, I work really crazy hours. I'm up really late. I don't sleep all that great. I sleep really good. Like the bus, it rocks you to sleep. We have memory foam beds and pillows and stuff. Uh, but it's not the same as just like being in your room, you know, where you feel comfy. That's it's a different kind of decompression period that I like to have. And I can't get too decompressed because I'm going right back out. But so in some of the questions that I asked you guys, Bill Burke for the win because he asked the most questions. So I'm going to get into as many as these as I possibly can. I want to address some others first, though. Number one question I want to address: different venue challenges. I thought that was such a great question. What were some of the different venue challenges? Okay, so 2 times already we've had pre-production, and there will be a third one approaching this third leg of like for the first tour, like first leg of the tour for pre-production. We basically built an arena level setup. We had 4 lighting trusses, which most of you guys only saw 2 of them. I'll get into that. We have 4 lighting trusses, the drum set. Thank God all the amps are direct and all that stuff is really small. But we had a not so huge stage to build this stuff on. So luckily we were able to build this big thing small right away. Or like we were able to build it small at the first place. So we rent out a venue in Covington, Louisiana, and we do all of our pre-production there. And so the first time we like put everything together, ran all the wires, and on the first leg of the tour, when most of you guys saw us, we were running individual cables for everything, for every drum mic, for every light, for all the Cat's lines, all the Nita's line, like everything. It was all being run every single night. All of the drum mic lines and all of the drum trigger lines, and a lot of the audio cables have all been now loomed up. So now instead of running like 15 different cables for the drums, we drop 3. And those 3 have just these little leads that come off. And it's beautiful. It makes everything a lot neater. Keeps everything working. But the biggest challenges that we had were size, man. And some venues have poles right in the center of the stage. I love that. Why would you have a pole in the center of the stage? Put the stage somewhere else. There was one venue that we played in, and there was a pole in the center of the stage, and it's like they could have just put the stage over here then, like on an angle. Like, it was so weird. So, I mean, I guess the pole still would have been there in the crowd and whatever, but yeah, poles and stages, that's a weird part. Obviously a nice medium to large size stage in a nice medium size venue is what ideally we have appreciated throughout this run. We played some super, super, super small stages, and the biggest challenge that we have in all of this is the lights and the in-ears. We have 2 racks that we put on the stage. We prefer to have them off to the side, and now we have really long cables where we can do that. But like the in-ears, the boss, all the bosses, and everyone, we kind of like to have the mixer on stage. So if we need to hear something, we control on that mixer. Each person has a button that has their name on it, and you walk over to this mixer, you push the button, and all the faders move, and that's your in-ear mix, and whatever you need to hear, you adjust that, and then you push the button, and all the faders go down to 0. When the next person needs to adjust it, they push their name, all the faders come up for them, whatever their mix is, and they adjust it, and then you push it again, goes back down to zero. Um, Having access to that, the biggest challenge is like the size of venues, right? So our ears and how we hear things and feel things, depending on the subwoofers, depends on how much we feel and hear the kick drum or the bass or whatever. So every once in a while, you just have to adjust some of that to tune yourself to the room. Other than like getting those two racks on stage, like in the beginning before I had looms and long enough wires, I was like constantly having to like get adapters and run extensions and every single day I was setting up the drum triggers, and every single day I was having to MacGyver a different way to get more length out of a cable. And then a trigger would go down, and depending on what trigger we're using, depends on whether the cable has a 1/4 inch lead or an XLR lead. So like some of that was just mind boggling on a day-to-day basis. Now it's all loomed up, so it's so much nicer and it's so much easier. And inside the loom, let's say I need 5 triggers. I need 5 cables for the triggers for the drums. The looms have 6 cables in them, and why? Because extra cable just in case one goes down. So that's a good little tip and best practice for tour is when you are building looms and you are doing stuff like that, it does not hurt to throw at least 1 or 2 extra cables in there as spares, because otherwise, in a pinch, you're screwed. Like in the middle of a show, you're screwed. You could just unplug one and plug in another on both ends, and that's quicker than running all the way to the cable bin, getting an XLR, running to the stage while the song's going on, running the cable, and then now there's just this one cable like hanging off the drum. It looks like shit. You know what I mean? It's just right there. So that's a good one. That was a me thing. But yeah, biggest challenge was the lights and putting the lights on such small stages sometimes. Other than that, my least favorite challenge for the venues is what like the air conditioning systems are, where I don't like air conditioning when I'm on stage. I like to get hot and sweaty. But really like their ventilation, like when there's so much fog in the room, I can't see you guys, and that sucks. So I wish venues had better circulation of like some of the fog and stuff that is required for us for the lights. Like it moves, it dissipates, but it just like if you don't have like a giant fan behind it, it kind of just lingers and takes a long time. And I like to see you guys. So that's that. Lessons learned. What lessons were learned on this tour besides all of them? I'll get back to that one. Wearing so many hats. Yeah, so as many of you know, I am a bass player for Nita Strauss. On this tour, I became, and I'm good at a lot of things. I've been on the road for a while, so what I've tended to do is learn how to be a jack of as many trades as possible. So, I started this tour as a bass player. I became a stage hand, a lighting hand. I was even the LD and production manager at a few shows that Drew wasn't able to be at. That means that I brought in and set up and patched every single one of the lights at multiple shows. There was shows where Sussy wasn't able to come in because of COVID stuff, and like he had to spend some time in Los Angeles and stuff. On those days, Drew and I together, the two of us, we patched like the whole stage. He patched up the in-ear board and gave the tails to the front of the house, and I patched up and mic'd every single thing on the stage. That was the day we played with Judas Priestess. I think it was in Harrison, Ohio or something. But I literally ran every single cable on the entire stage that day for audio, and half of the cables for the lighting, and plus all the triggers, um, and so I've, you know, luckily it's a lot. Like you say just like running cables, but if you can imagine, like everything has to work, and you only have so much time. And there was times when, in the beginning of the tour, we had 9 to 10 people on the stage, Anita included, always helping with stuff. Like Anita always comes on the stage at the end of the night, as long as there's not like people all over the crowd and stuff like that, because she has to be on like super lockdown, right? Um, but she always comes to the stage and wraps cables with us. I'm sure some of you guys have seen that, and everybody does their stuff, but those cables have to get run every night. And they all have to work, and you only have so much time. So we had like 9 people, whatever, on the stage in the beginning, and then by the end of this tour, it's only really like 3 or 4 people on the stage now. Like everyone has we all started like doing everything, and then we all kind of fell into different lanes. I've done everything from guitar teching to lighting to drum teching to trailer packing to assistant tour managing at times, and I've done everything, even working with the driver. I almost drove the bus. This is like almost every tour I've ever been on with them. I almost drive the bus. Like there's almost always a reason for me to be able to use my CDL and drive. And yeah, and there's a lot of hats to wear. So, yeah. Why a 5-string bass instead of a 4-string bass? For Nita, we tuned down a half step. A full step. We tuned to D standard, and especially like I had used the low string on the first tour. I forget, man. Like I over the tours I kind of play a couple songs a little bit differently. I've played a couple songs differently over the years. But the biggest reason for the 5-string is that for Nita, I do use all the low notes, especially Dead Inside. Dead Inside and actually Power Rangers. Power Rangers, I use the open low A. And like it's actually part of the bass line. Like that was originally played on a 5-string. But and also in Dead Inside, I think I go down to the 3rd fret on that string. So what is that? It's a C. I go down to a low C in Dead Inside. And in The Show Must Go On, I go all the way up to the 19th fret on the high string. I was looking at my other bass, but I could tell you right off the bat that, yeah, if we're just talking Dead Inside and like not Power Rangers, where I just sit there. Look at that. That looks so cool. But I play from here all the way up to here. Just in the normal set. So yeah, it's required. And plus, I like a 5-string. I got into playing 5-strings because I play 7-string guitars, like the purple headstock behind me here, that Riddler guitar. And the 5-string directly lines up with the 7th string, So, and I tune my 7 strings actually to drop A. I tune my 7 strings to drop A, and sometimes standard tuning, but usually it's standard tuning with the low A. And yeah, it's always been one-on-one with me. And also to address something, I've played bass for 1 year shorter than I've played guitar. I had a 3/4 Sammy bass. I'm pretty sure I've put it on one of these videos or spoken about it before. I've been playing bass almost as long as I've been playing guitar, and for the first time in my life, I'm finally starting to feel like a bassist. Also with having, I actually, before I got these Ibanez BTB 5 strings, I had one other 5 string BTB, and but I had also had a 6 string Yamaha early on, um, and my very first bass was a 4 string Ibanez, which I just did a lesson with one of my students who still has it. I need to get that back. I bought it for $100, but I had like or my first big bass, because my first bass was a 3/4 one I got when I was like 14. But yeah, I got like some 6 string basses early on. I don't even know why. I like traded a guitar for a 6 string bass, and it was an Ibanez BTB, and I just loved the shape. And then I traded 7 strings to get this green Ibanez BTB. It was like an $800 bass, and I worked at Guitar Center at the time, and I just had all these guitars. I just didn't care. I wanted the bass, and I had so many guitars. So it cost me 7 strings, um, but I got it. No money down. Just take these guitars. They were all like Schecters and LTDs, so there was nothing to cry over. Um, and yeah, so I've always loved playing bass right alongside, and even some of my first guitar amps were actually bass amps that I just put a distortion pedal in front of. So yeah, so there's that. Um, so 5 string, I just love the range. I prefer to have the range. It's not that I don't like 4 strings, but I've been playing 5 and 6 and all these extended range guitars. I play 8 string guitars. Like a 4 string bass just feels like so small, and it's cool because I can move around on it. But I just always like being able to have the ability to go lower, especially nowadays. Load in, setup, breakdown, and load up. How are they so quick? Because we got the dream team, yo. So, one of the things is that we've been able to develop is how we set up and break down the stage. And so there's a specific way that the cases go in the trailer, and there's a specific way they come out of the trailer. And so obviously they go in opposite of the way that they come out and vice versa. But the pack is done in a couple of different ways. It's done where like the biggest cases are in the center, but unfortunately those are also the first ones that have to go into the stage. So really actually the lights do. So like we get some of the road cases out of the way, and we push them off to the side, and we, as other things come out, we stack them on top and use riders. But we try and get all the lighting cases in first, and then the drum cases. That's really all of the stuff. Everyone else's guitars are just like these multi-effect things, and they like plug in one cable and they're done. So it's like we got to get the drums and lights in. That's our whole setup: drums, lights, and in-ear monitors. There are no cabinets, there are no amps. Um, so yeah, so it just, at the end of the night, we don't push anything out until it's all packed up. Um, and when we do, Drew sends, and most of the crew knows at this point, what are the first cases that go in, and they're like the big drum cases and the trusses. Then we do the 3 lighting cases. One of them has to get stacked, and then we do the in-ear mixer. Then we do the 3 racks that we have. Then we do these. We used to do these 2 black and yellows, but now we're replacing. Like we had some black and yellow bins and stuff. We're replacing everything all with road cases now for this next leg. So that's what part of this pre-production is no more plastic bins, no more things that are like dangerous. Those metal plates for the trusses, 2 of them fell on my one toe, and I thought I was going to lose my toenail. I wasn't wearing my boots that day. I was wearing my sneakers when I was unloading the trailer, and they fell on my toe. And after that, they're like, listen, someone's going to get hurt, so they got a case for them. So now they're all going to ride in a case nice and safely. And so, like, yeah, so Drew sends the cases out in a certain way, and they come in a certain way, and like everyone's just gotten used to like what order they are. If you can imagine, every single person on the team, no matter their position, is some form of musician, you know. So when it comes to doing things in a specific order, like we kind of learn, okay, this is the way you do things, you know. Every once in a while, there might be someone in the team that tries to like change something, but more often than not, like, you know, we develop our system and it doesn't change. If there's any gripe that I have ever, it's like when we get something well oiled, if it doesn't make logistical sense, you know, no matter who brings it up, whether it be me, whether it be the boss, anyone, if we have something well oiled, it's really like it takes a collective to change something, because if we don't feel that it makes logistical sense, we just don't do it. You know, we want to be safe, we want to be accurate, we want to be, you know, we want things to always work. And so as long as something makes sense, anytime anyone brings an idea together, um, you know, we'll change it or something. But most of the time, like, we just kind of work out a system one thing at a time ish. And then once it's set, you know, like everyone has their, in the beginning of a tour, everyone has like a few weeks or so of like, hey, how about we do this? How about we do this? But like once we get in the zone and like things are going in and out, like everything's going like it's Groundhog Day. Being on tour is Groundhog Day, right? Once we get in the zone, if someone tries to like do something a different way, that's like trying to like put the label on the bottle in the assembly plant right before it's going to get filled, and like it just makes the machine go like this, right? So once we get set, it's good. And like even though we had some time off, when we go back, we are gonna have like all new gear, so we are gonna have to like reset, like change the pack, change the order a little bit, maybe kind of sort of how some things go. But for the most part, everything's going to mainly stay the same. It's all going to be all the same stuff. It's going to be all the same lights. It's going to be, you know, so it's, you know, it's going to stay the same. Neck illusions. I brought my bass out before. I got these wonderful, wonderful neck covers. And it's my 3 logo. I wasn't sure if I was going to like the big one or not. It is a little weird because I got these big ass stainless steel frets. But I love it. Neck Illusions is the company that Nita used for the green guitar, the Gojira, the Hurricane, and I reached out to them, and Nita told me about them, and I love it, man. And they have been great to me. I love the way these things look. It really helps me. Just like this is like such a stock bass, and I'm not trying to be like pick on it at all, like because you're like, what do you mean stock bass? It looks so beautiful. If you see it with like the stock neck without any of this stuff on it, and there are pictures, and some of you guys have seen it, it does look really good, man. It does look really, really good. It's just being able to do something like this really allowed me to feel like I customize this bass without having to cover it with like this beautiful body with like some stickers like I usually do. Also, I took these preamps out. See if I can get it in the glare. Yeah, there. See all those holes? Took the preamps out of this. Now I'm just running passive pickups. But yeah, it was one of those things that really just made me feel like I was able to customize my bass without making it look cheesy. Yeah. These pickups that are in here are not 916 pickups, and I just haven't been able to develop one for this body style because it's like a weird size with my buddy Matt. And I'm in every which way, shape, and form. I don't want to like cut these bodies. I've had a couple ideas for stuff I wanted to do. And yeah, I just don't want to. I don't want to alter the body. I want to keep the looks of these the same as much as possible. So they're just the stock Bartolinis. But you know, I'll change them out eventually. Um, yeah. Let's see what else. Pedals. So you guys probably know Nita uses the Boss GT 1000 right now. I have in my possession a Boss GT 1000. Someone was very I was I was gifted this, and it's I'm very humbled by it. It's you know really expensive pedal. And I've been messing around with it, trying to see if I can be alongside the Boss and use this. Or if this is something that's going to be better used for when I do guitar stuff. I don't know yet. But most of the time, my tone, I use a fractal, and I built my own tone. And right now, I'm trying to do that with the looper. Sorry, not the looper. It's on the looper channel. I was looking at it. But right now, I'm trying to build a bass tone on the GT 1000. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not 100% sold. It's kind of there. But it's not exactly. I'm not 100% there yet with my bass tone for what I require. But we're trying. If not, like I said, I use Fractal. I've been using Fractal for like 4 or 5 years now. I was thinking about getting a new Fractal unit. I fly into a lot of shows, so I'm looking at downsize. And I think I'm gonna wind up just getting a dark glass pedal. Uh, I spoke with the guys at Dark Glass. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get like the Alpha Omega and just do that. And instead of bringing even the Fractal, which is like just this little 26-pound thing, versus my 80-pound tubed head and 8x10 cabinet that I couldn't fit on a plane if I wanted to. I have this little flight ready 26-pound case with the Fractal. Yeah, I just even that, it's like, so big. I can't bring, if I ever buy anything on the road, I gotta like mail it back instead of being able to have like a little small suitcase, because that is my other small suitcase. So when I fly in on tour, I have my backpack, I have a dual bass case, and I have the Fractal, and then I have a suitcase. So that's it. I fly in, and two of those things is my gear, is all my gear. And if I can get rid of one of those and put these two little tiny pedals in there, and then I'll be able to, bring home keepsakes instead of having to mail stuff home and stuff like that. A lot of gifts, some that you guys gave me, I wound up having to leave them in New Jersey and then mailing them, because when I went to New Jersey for the Christmas break, I had to fly back out from there to meet up with everyone, and like my bags were all heavy, So it's just because there's so much air travel, looking to downsize. We leave from Josh and Nita's house, but we don't leave from my house. So anything that I can't fly with, I can't bring. And that makes it difficult sometimes, especially when you're like a gear whore like me, because I have lots of really cool gear. I could run pedal boards and stuff. I have a bass pedal board back here, my guitar pedal board. I would love to have like pedals and effects, and the reality is I just don't need anything more than just that one little pedal. So it might be what I'm gonna do. I don't know. Yeah. So we were all, and to address, this was another question, how we all pulled together in December. Yeah, how do we all pull together in December through all this crap? Because we are the dream team, and everybody, there are no egos, like way less than any other band, like everybody, ego is part of a human psychology, so we can't say like no one has an ego, because we all have at least a little bit of one. But luckily in our camp, an ego doesn't cause like any sight of an ego is only as strong as like someone suggesting an idea. Like even to Nita, from Nita all the way down. If she like were to be, and not that I've ever seen her, but like even if she were to be like mad about something that was going on, which doesn't really happen, um, you know, where other bosses would scream at you, she talks to you like a total pro. You know, hey, so what's going on here? You know, it could be like a life threatening thing from the stage and blah 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 blah, and something that we're all like, you know, no one wants the boss to find out about this thing not working, you know, or something like that, or you know, like painting the roses red, you know what I mean, that kind of deal. Uh, the, yeah, she's a total pro, and because of that, it's really easy to just be honest. Everyone's honest with each other, and everybody wants the same gig to happen. Every single person on our crew wants that show to go on from beginning to end without a hitch. And you know, at that Angola show, some of you guys saw us have a hitch, you know, and it happens. And under that moment, in that moment, you know, we fix it and we stay together, we stay strong, we work together, and we slay. And it's fantastic and amazing. Let's see. I got to do like one or two more. You guys were really good, and some of you better than others for uh, blasting me with questions. But thank you so very much, those of you who did, because uh, like I've had 3 months of stuff that happened, and I lived 15 to 20 hours a day awake, working with some of the most fantastic and amazing people, hanging out with some of you guys and some of the most fantastic and amazing people on the planet. And sometimes to just think about some of that stuff without being prompted is kind of a little hard. Yes, I'm able to talk, yes, I'm able to expand, but I don't want to repeat myself. And sometimes all you need is just a little jarring of your memory to, or something to spark of what you would like want to talk about. Because I really want to share everything with you guys. So, oh, last thing that I'll address. How is my Mustang coming along? Very slow. And part of the reason for that is I've been gone for 3 months. I am a normal working human being, so you know, I don't have that kind of money where you pay to get your car restored in like 2 weeks. Um, I'm a working class man, so I get a couple dollars, I buy a part. I get a couple dollars, I buy a part. Right now, I bought a whole bunch of parts. That some of it is like final product stuff, and so I'm not really gonna worry about putting it on, like, you know, new gas caps and emblems and stuff like that. I'm not gonna really do any of that until I get some other stuff together. But um, I bought a 1965 V8 motor, a 289 motor, and I bought a 3-speed manual transmission. My car is originally a 289 4-barrel 3-speed car. It currently, and it's a 65, and currently it has a 1966 inline 200 6-cylinder with an automatic transmission. I am changing that. I'm going to bring this car back to. This car, look, you know, may look really nice, but that's because I'm taking the right picture. You know, that car is like it's like an ugly chick on Instagram. I'm just using the right filter and the right angles. You know what I mean? It is absolutely a almost original car in very many senses. A lot of those pieces are original, but not all of them are original to that car. Um, it's kind of a hodgepodge of a couple of different cars that my dad had. I could tell you, like, the hood's from a 66 coupe. The back seat is from a 66 convertible. The doors are from that car, but some of the valances are from a 64 and a half. The fenders were from a 65 convertible. You know, and it's the front seats. Oh, the two front seats are absolutely out of a 64 and a half Mustang. The instrument bezel is out of a 66 because I have the one. I think it's out of a 66 anyway because I got the 140 Speedo. But yeah, like, it's there. I got to do things one thing at a time. It's going to cost me thousands of dollars. So I'm trying to get it finished. I'd like to have it finished or like close to or whatever in the next 4 years. I just really want it by the time my son comes down here. Hopefully after high school for college, hopefully he gets to come move to wherever I am so I can kind of do that. Or maybe I'll move to wherever he wants to go to college so I can kind of do that. Real quick, what's a typical day like on the Winter Wasteland tour? Okay, wake up. A typical day, right? Not the first few days. Let's say I was out for like 3 months. So let's say 2.5 months, 2 months in. Wake up at 11:30, make your coffee. Wake up like the body. Brush your teeth. Put your sunglasses on. Go outside, load in the venue. Prep the stage, get ready for sound check. Do sound check. Get some sort of food most of the time. As long as I had at least 6 hours or 7 hours before showtime, which wasn't always the case. Sometimes you get into a venue later and your show is earlier. So in those times, I wouldn't eat at all until after the set. Go on, rock your guys' faces off, and then pack up the trailer. Like, pack up the stage, pack up the trailer, smell my fantastically amazing food that I probably hadn't eaten all day because more than likely I didn't have time because I would have thrown up before the set. If I eat too close to the set, I'll just throw up everywhere. So I just don't eat if I get too close to it. I smell that food and I watch it go to the bus. I finish loading the trailer. Sometimes hang out with a couple people. And then I sit down on the bus at the end of the night and I eat my food. We watch some movies, tell some jokes, make fun of each other a whole lot. And then go to sleep and do it all over again. The insults start the second that you come out of bunk alley, by the way. Whoever's up before you, when you come out of bunk alley, you hit that button and the doors, on this second bus, we had a door where you hit the button and it opened up. You come out and you're like, you just imagine whoever's out there, they're like this. And you just come out of bunk alley, just. Sometimes you want to just like close that door and just go right back to sleep. But it's great because everything that everybody says on our tour, unlike other tours, everything is said with a kind heart. We are hard pranksters, and that whole Leonidas' ass joke, man, that really threw me for a loop. I really, really, really hated it. But even I have to like let that happen, man. It was a good joke. It was just too good. I got nothing. Every time it came up, I had nothing to say in response. So, but yeah, so that's a quick little update. I'm gonna make a couple other videos that hopefully we get posted up here in the next few days, and I'll see you later. If I did not address anything that you really, really, really wanted to know more about, put it down in the comments below, and I'll address it in one of these next few videos that I'm gonna be doing for you guys. All right. Thanks, guys, so much. I will be back.